Good evening, evolutionaries. I'm your host, Lorena Mitchell with Evolution Greenworks, and we have our special guest today, Dwayne Snider from P90energy.com. And we're going to be talking a little bit about structures today and about what to look for. You know, what should you spend on your solar system and your ground mount structure? What should you be looking for? And why do you want to do that, and what can happen as a result? There was just a really big windstorm over in Saskatchewan, and it was really tough on some structures, and not just solar structures either. There was a lot of devastation over there. I'm going to be bringing on our special guest, Dwayne Snider. Welcome, Dwayne.
Hello, Lorena. How are you today?
I'm great, thank you. The sun is shining over here. I know that we're posting this in the evening, but we're actually daytime, and at the time when we're posting this, so it's nice and sunny and feels good. How are you doing?
Pretty good. We're doing about the same as you today. We got some sunshine again and no wind today, which is a good
Oh,
thing.
yes. We're still a little bit windy here. We had actually the +2 yesterday and lots of wind over here in southern Manitoba. So we're talking to you over in southern Saskatchewan. You want to tell me a little bit about some of your weather events that have been going on?
Well, I think a lot like what you're experiencing, Lorena. It's been quite a different winter. Last week I actually pressure washed my trucks and trailers just because it was +8 out and it was beautiful. And then
Wow.
again to today where it's -10 and a normal January day here. So we've had some pretty interesting windstorms go through, and yeah, the weather events have been a little different. Combine that with a little bit of this health crisis that's going on, and things are a little different this year.
Well, I think that's one of the at least bonuses of this year, that it actually has been warmer. I mean, overall,
Agreed.
we've only seen like -30 a couple of times here in Manitoba. I don't know if this is what you've been seeing, but I'm loving it. A little more sunshine would be nice, a little less wind, but it's honestly, overall, I've been really enjoying it. The last time we had a winter like this really was in 8 years ago. It was actually 8 years ago, because I remember there actually being some snow, some green grass peeking through uh, December 26th, Boxing Day, while I was waiting for my first grandchild to come. It was at Women's Health Center over in Winnipeg, Manitoba, and we were in sweaters. It was
Yeah,
sunny and beautiful, absolutely
no,
beautiful.
that's Western Canada for you. It's and
Yeah.
that's probably leading into our conversation. And weather's fairly unpredictable here. You can expect that it's going to get cold, you can expect that it's going to get windy, and you can expect some oddly really nice weeks. It's just the way the climate operates from Manitoba right over to West Coast.
Well, that's the truth. It's very changeable here, and you don't know what you're going to get, from one day to the next. +2 yesterday, and it's -15 today, for instance, right?
Mhm.
Um, but I mean, one of the things that we really want to bear in mind is, overall, what is the weather like in your area? What is the wind like? What is the sun like? How much cloud do you normally see? Because we are in renewable energy. So I want you to talk a little bit, Dwayne, about your systems, the new P90energy.com, and you've been involved, well, with Advanced Energy since 2001 as a founder. So if you could just tell me a little bit about why your P90 has been turning out to be just amazing.
Well, yeah, you're right. 20 years of working with renewable energy, we've learned quite a few lessons over the years. Um, right in southern Saskatchewan, we're actually very much in the Goldilocks zone for amount of sunlight hours we do receive in a year. So it's really good for renewable energy, particularly solar. And but with that comes, much like you, wide open prairies and unpredictable weather. And just recently we had one of those 1 in 100 year windstorms that go through in the winter, and there was winds ranging from 125 kilometers an hour to 153 kilometers an hour in some parts of southern Saskatchewan. So it was, you got to be ready for things like that. It's, cars lined up on the highways. That's why you pack emergency stuff inside your cars, and you're ready for it as a prairie dweller.
And I don't know that a lot, especially the urbanites. I don't know if they actually do that. I know us living outside of urban areas, definitely it's more on the front burner. I have a go bag, what I call a go bag, in my truck all the time. So it has key things. It has water. It has a means of heating. It has stuff to warm myself up with. It has emergency food. Even has filtration for water.
Yeah.
And these things are really important, and some basic tools are always in this kit, and a med kit. So I think you're absolutely right. We never know what we're going to get here. It's like a mixed box of chocolates, really, right? So,
well, you have to think this previous storm that just went by, capital city Regina, obviously, but every highway incoming and outgoing of the city was closed for those day and a half, and that's never happened before, where every roadway was blocked off by RCMP incoming and leaving the city. So it was
that's amazing.
It was pretty treacherous, right?
That's amazing. And I think that's when people get caught, right? They were out working, they were visiting, whatever it was, they were in travel, and now they're caught. They can't go home, they can't go back, they're stuck.
Exactly.
What do you do? What do you do? And that's an excellent point, that this was very anomalous, but this does happen, and with more frequency than it used to.
It could be more frequent. We're, again, just the past few days here, there was 70, 80, 90 kilometer an hour winds, and previous to that, beautiful for 1 month, sunlight and no wind whatsoever. But that's just how things roll off from the west to the mountains to us, and right on through to you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know ours has been a lot tamer than yours. We have not seen the kind of winds that you do. Mind you, I'm over in the Sandyland forest area, so we do have the trees to kind of cut that off. Kind of a bit sheltered in my forest here.
That's
so
good.
Yeah, absolutely. So why don't you talk to us about P90? Like, talk about this structure. Did you want to I can bring one in stream right now. Let's take a peek at it. Oh, look at that.
For sure. Yeah. Well, this is the collaboration of 4 business owners, myself included, that we learned a lot of lessons over the years, where you're dealing with weather events like we are, and we've purchased and put up all kinds of racking systems and solar systems, and they've all been relatively really good and do their job like they're engineered and spec to do. But when these events go through, they just don't quite hold up the way they should to the wind pressures that roll across the prairies. It's quite different than just a wind gust of 140 kilometers an hour. Most things would stand and have no problem, but we had sustained winds of between 125 and 153 for between 6 and 8 hours. So there was no break on that actual wind load on the structures. And we've seen this coming into it. So we sat down with our engineers and said, what will it take to create something that can handle basically F1 hurricane wind speeds? And even that particular system you're seeing right there, that is a shot of one after the windstorm, and it sustained no frame or racking or anchoring into the ground issues. It was our design proved itself, and that's what we're after. And we decided to use all carbon steel construction, and we have a way, and we manufacture right here in southern Saskatchewan now, so we can avoid all those shipping costs that would actually go into building a structure like this when you're importing different structures from, wherever they might come from through a supply chain or something like that. We can avoid those costs and put them into the structure itself and keep the costs low and competitive and still service everybody across our trade area, which is right from your area to, Western Alberta.
Right. So, and one of the things that I wanted to say, like, well, with your option here with the P90, we're looking at it set up a certain way here. Is there a reason for the angle it's at right now?
Absolutely, Lorena. So what we've done with this is we've taken the design and obviously structural engineering around every angle, but when you change latitudes, whether it be, southern Saskatchewan or northern Saskatchewan, sun angles are different. So we have ours on a fully pivotal 90-degree system, and the system you're seeing is what we would call the December mode and January mode, and you're seeing it at a 73.2 degree angle, and that's because of the sun being so low that we want direct sunlight right onto our panels. That's when they perform the best. So as the months move, we have power actuator that is just simply operated by 12-volt battery or a cordless drill battery, and we provide the customer with a custom tilt schedule for their actual location so that they can maximize the solar gains off of that solar system, because it will change depending on where you're situated.
So actually, that sounds like a great idea, because now it's not moving all the time. The worm gears aren't wearing out. You're basically just, for this time, this is your maximized. You could pull up with your quad even and use your quad battery, right?
Exactly.
It's really that easy, because
really
a lot of people have quads when we're out of town and on farms and stuff.
Yep. Or the front of the pickup truck, pop the hood, put the leads on, and we provide you with an angle finder, or there's all kinds of apps to do that with on your cell phone these days. And you tilt to that angle, and we use to lock it in, we use we're not going to give away that technology just yet, but basically it's the same style of technology that ships and large airplanes would use to stop them from falling apart in the air or in the water, which is kind of what you want.
So it's really heavy duty then, suffice to say.
It's strong. Yeah, this is all, Schedule 80 carbon steel built, and it's what we would expect is that, let's say a 200-kilometer-an-hour wind did go through, which is typically the rating of a solar panel itself, they would probably fold off the structure, which in turn would be a very small claim or a very small cost in the whole scheme of things, instead of the whole structure collapsing.
Gotcha. So when we're talking about this structure, now when it's at this particular angle, is this best for high winds, or like, I'm just wondering, or is this more of just a winter?
This is your winter sun angles, obviously, but that is the most susceptible point for wind load, obviously, because it's on such a vertical tilt, right? It's a 73-degree tilt right now to absorb as much sun as possible. So that's where the true engineering of the system had to go into place, is this right here, because no matter which way the wind is coming, south or north, it's going to take some serious wind pressure on it. This particular system you're seeing here is located, just outside Regina, up on a hill. And if you look behind there, that is flat prairie. And verified by, Environment Canada, there was 143-kilometer-an-hour winds from the north on that, which would be the back of that system. And we sustained no frame damage or no anchoring damage, and all collectors stayed intact.
What kind of hurricane force wind is that? Oh my goodness.
That's actually that's an F1 hurricane speed. It's just it's pretty strong.
That's phenomenal. And I probably came off the mountains and then built up straight across the prairies in southern Saskatchewan
that's just exactly hammered. Yeah, that's exactly what they're saying happened, Lorraine, as it was
But
A
what's
clipper,
interesting is, I know we talked about this, the solar panels themselves. Actually, I talked about this with another person involved with P90 about how a lot of these panels actually survived on their own, though. So even the thinnest of them that were put up, because as the new technology comes out, it becomes thinner, it becomes more efficient, all of these things, right?
that's right.
So, did you want to say a little bit about what you found at site and the things that you found were surprising for the ones that didn't make it? And it wasn't P90, by the way, guys. It was other guys' stuff out there. But these guys have jumped in to help customers from that had installations from other companies that maybe are not there anymore, because there used to be a rebate program and an incentive program, and it brings a lot of kind of jump on companies, right? So they're not there when the customer needs them later. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, we're taking calls from across Saskatchewan now, and it's no real fault of the customer or honestly the company that was putting them in. They're relying on engineering that was provided to them as an installation company, and as an installation company where I came from, you have to rely on that your engineering of the product you're buying will take on the wind loads of what it states it will. And in some circumstances, it did, and they were engineered to 120 km an hour winds, but
At 143, that didn't quite do it, huh?
it didn't quite do it. There's some.
All I meant by the statement was, though, when you're choosing an installation and design company, though, it's always valid to see who's been around the province for a long time. Check out their reviews. Really do your homework. I mean, guys, this is a lot of money to be spending, and you really want to know this company is going to be there 10 years from now. So I'm only alluding to the ones that installed in the province with the rebate program and then they're gone, is simply that they're not there to help in these kind of anomalous events, right? So
You're exactly right, Lorraine. It's just you're right. That is it creates a bit of a false economy when large rebates come in, and it creates competition and things. But you're right, there's sometimes they're not there to help afterwards,
they're not as
and
integrated into the provinces, right? So
no,
you want to look for somebody local, you want to look for somebody trustworthy, you want to check them out. You want
yeah,
to see what they're already installing and what people are talking about at this company, establishing their reputation over a period of time. I mean, there's something to be said about the new guy in town, but at the same time, you have to protect your investment. But for those of you that did go with other companies that are no longer available, Dwayne Snider with P90 Energy is there for you. You can definitely give him a call and he will fix you up. So, Dwayne, the next thing I wanted to talk to you about is, what do you see as the future of energy? Tell me about your vision for P90 Energy.
well, I think you and I are very much on the same wavelength, Lorena. I mean, you're going to start seeing energy storage becoming integrated into solar systems. It already is. We're doing it now, and it's going to become more and more important as possibly time of use billing comes into play, and as the kilowatt hour rate climbs over the years, because it has to. As we grow as a society, you need more power, which means you got to generate more power, which means you got to build more infrastructure, so the price goes up, right? um, we integrate a lot of technologies. We can build microgrids for people, that supply solar by day, energy storage by night. There's just a lot of ways that things are going to move. Um, you know, Talking to my father-in-law, it's almost history repeating itself, because when they first moved to the farm, they had a 18-watt solar panel and a car battery that did all the lighting in the house. Well, we don't really live with 20 watts worth of lighting anymore, and heating loads and electrical loads are, most homes have 100 or 200 amp service that is required now. So we don't want to go back to the days of 12 volts in one battery. We want to live modern, so you have to have modern technology to create and lower your power consumption and your energy consumption. So we see a lot of things coming down the road, and you can definitely take a look at our website, and it'll give you a lot more information on equipment that we offer and install.
Oh, yeah, amazing. Yeah, I was looking through your website. It's starting to come along. I know this is, you've been just ramping up because you do have advanced energy, but you have the P90 energy. And P90 energy is basically the whole home, whole business concept. So this is a very robust product that can do a whole lot of things.
Well,
Uh,
yeah, exactly. And you got to remember that um, we're we're kind of over the point where, one company and one association or entity just can't do all the work. So we recognize here in southern Saskatchewan that bringing our talents together of myself, Advanced Energy, Preferred Energy, C&E Consulting, and SEBS Electrical Incorporated, we really all of a sudden really turned a corner on our strength and our abilities to help customers and the capabilities of the amount that we can help at any given time. We're a pretty large, strong machine now that's combined forces, and we can help quite a few people instead of just one at a time anymore.
yeah, no, I absolutely agree with you. And I think also with your years of experience and the way things are going, and just how the industry itself has changed, I think it to me, we're going to one day, and I envision this, 10, 20 years, we're really looking at capsules. Everybody's going to be their own individual power source and storage device. In your home is going to be built to very what we would consider, I guess, passive homes. Now, I mean, this is going to be normal, where they're going to actually finally start building homes that can take -30 and can take +30, and you equalize that so you barely need any kind of heating or cooling source. Therefore, the energy consumption is so much lower, which makes production and storage so much easier.
That's exactly right.
So the zero home concept is really coming, and it's also working in line with, because a lot of the Saskatchewan and Manitoba have gone to a selling rate for renewable energies that is very low. We used to store energy on the grid basically when we were getting PAR, and then we could use those credits down the road. So make it in the summer, use it in the winter. Perfect. But these utility companies are quite threatened by renewables because they can see the future. They know that with how we're consuming energy is going to change. They keep talking about it going up, but what they're not telling you is they actually know the consumption is going to go down. And as that consumption comes down, it becomes a reality that energy production and storage, you can become your own entity. So we talked a lot about microgrids in the past, and we still do them, especially for resorts and diesel generated sites, those types of things. But the future is going to be independent.
I think you're exactly right, Lorraine. I mean, you're going to see a day that's not too far away where, just talk about what we're doing today with homes and buildings where you're integrating energy storage right now. The grid is actually the backup now, and it's always good to have that. It's not a bad thing to have grid power to you and pay your monthly bills and things like that, because even technology fails. You could have a cell on one of the energy storage units that fails, and you've got grid power there available. Eventually, that you're right. You're going to see homes being built rurally that, well, I mean, it was $50,000 to get power there. Well, they'll just stop doing it. They just won't need to do it.
Well, certainly. And if their consumption level drops by quite a bit because they've built now to the appropriate standards for the environment they're in, you're going to see that the power, system in order to do it is just not going to cost the same. You're right there. I know in Manitoba, like, you don't have to be very far off the line for it to cost $50,000 to put in power with Manitoba Hydro. This is where we are. And that was because they can control those things, because the selling rate is actually artificially low here. So we're roughly 10 cents a kilowatt here. You guys are 14 cents a kilowatt, I believe. And, our selling rate is 2.9 cents. We're less than half. You're half. We're less than half. So we don't actually want to sell to the grid. That's the last thing I want to do. When I design a system myself, and I'm sure when you're designing, we don't want to sell. We want to store, we want to maintain, we want to utilize, we want to prevent people from buying, but we don't want to actually ostensibly sell anymore. And this is the new design of the future.
You're right. And it's all about education too. I mean, the world's changing, so your lifestyle kind of has to adapt to it as well. I mean, if you're going solar, the new Internet of Things is coming online left and right, where you simply program your dishwasher from your phone, and your fridge alerts you that I'm shutting down for these 4 hours over the night because I don't need to consume power. So you're shifting to, when the sun's out, you're consuming your power. When the sun goes away, you're just using very little power in here. So
I love that you mentioned the smart fridges and the smart devices that do all of this, because, with a program, with a click, we can optimize so much now with some of the new things coming out. But one of the big things for me too is these new pieces of equipment actually are pretty open, exposed to volatile voltages. And our grids in Saskatchewan and Manitoba are very volatile. The voltages are going up and down a lot, especially if you're near the end of the line. So, I mean, that's something that people don't always know about, but that's they call them brownout areas. It's not really, actually. It's high voltage in a lot of cases. Sometimes the voltage regulators are going, but not gone. And of course, your utility company doesn't want to do anything about it. But your brand new washer, dryer with all those electronic components and smart things, and the fridge, all of those things will have a much shortened lifespan, whereas our inverter systems actually keep these things from happening. So we maintain much tighter controls on the voltages that are going to be going to the homes and to those devices. Right. So it's cleaner energy, actually.
Yep, that's exactly right, Lorraine. And that's where your grid is your backup, and you're feeding our energy system in case it's necessary, but we're actually regulating cleaner voltage coming into the property, the home. And those brownouts and things can be caused from industry starting up at a particular hour in the day, or a manufacturing facility in the area, and that's hard to control for a utility, because that's where your demand charges come into play and things like that. It's
And I've actually even too had farms come and get solar just because they want to put, like, say, a grain dryer on. Hydro has said to them, no, we can't even do it. Not even a price tag there. Just says, no, we can't do it. You're at the area. We just don't have enough power for you in that area. Yeah. So solar can stabilize that kind of effect too. So, I mean, these are the types of things that I think a lot of people don't really take into consideration. Also, if we're going to put solar anywhere, we're going to update all of the electrical. Everything is going to be code before we leave. So you have updated electrical before we even leave. So that increases the property value in its own.
Absolutely.
Well, Dwayne, it's been really wonderful having you here. I want to welcome you guys back again, though. There's so much to talk about. I know you guys got to fly because you've been just inundated with helping other people out right now after this aftermath of the windstorm. So I just wanted to thank you for coming on today. Again, this is Dwayne Snider with P90energy.com. You can visit the website. He has 20 years experience, and really it's worth getting a quote and seeing where you sit to get your energy independence and fortifying your future. I'm going to leave with our sponsors over at Wolf Enterprises and Evolve Green, but I wanted to thank you very much. See you later.
Thank you, Lorena. We'll see you again.
Bye.
Bye-bye.